Greetings, welcome back to PinkOddBird. Today I'm here to show you how I make these really cool floating book page pocket attachment thingies. These were inspired by Patricia Viramontes. I'm in the middle of a project and I was needing some kind of book page pocket. And I did a search on YouTube and Patricia's video came up and I loved what she was showing and I wanted to borrow her idea. Thank you so much for the inspiration, Patricia. I believe this is how inspiration works. We get inspiration and ideas from our fellow crafters and then we take it or we borrow it, I should say, and add to it and put some little spins and twists on it to make it our own. And I think that's how inspiration works. And so I definitely want to give all credit to Patricia for this. And this is just going to be my take on her idea. So let's go ahead and get started. So what I've done is I've added a pocket here in the back, a pocket here in this section, and then a separate pocket here. When I was getting ready to film this video, I had an idea for an addition to add to this. So I'm gonna show you how I made this up to this point with these one pocket, two pocket, and three pockets. And these pockets are all separate and independent of each other, so nothing is going to like clash into each other. So yeah, let's see how we make this little tri-pocket book page pocket holder floating pocket. Okay, so to get started, all I've done so far is I've taken two book pages and just glued them together. This is so that I have something that's a little bit more, this is just so that I have something that has a little bit more stability to it. So the first thing that I want to do is whatever side that you're going to have this pocket on with a little notch here, you want to make sure that you really glue those book pages together, because if you don't, you'll be splitting that book page when you slide something through. So I'm just going to say that I'll make mine on this side. And I'm going to make sure I really add glue right there on that edge to make sure it stays closed. Want to make sure this piece is closed. This is just the second book page. I just want to make sure they're really together. So I know that my notch is going to be over here, and then I have these sealed together. So this is a good time to use scraps if you've got them. I'm just going to take some book page scraps here. And what I did was this also helps strengthen your pocket. So what I just did is cut around the perimeter of this. So this is what we have. So now we have a nice background, and we also have a little bit more structure to this floating pocket. So the next thing I did was I took another scrap, and I wanted to have something that was contrasting between the two. And when I decided that, I was like, oh, well, you know what? I can do something to make this have a pocket. But here's the tricky part. If you don't seal this notch pocket off, then you'll have this pocket and this pocket clashing. So we want to make sure that we seal this off. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to take another scrap here, something that's like the same size as this little flap here. And I'm just going to cut this down a bit. So now I have this cut. And as you can see, it goes perfectly behind here. So I'm going to just take my glue and glue on three sides here. And glue this to the back. And I want it up to the edge where I'm going to punch that notch. Actually, sorry. You want to punch that notch before you glue this down. So let's get that done first. There we go. So now glue that down. So we have our three sides glued down. So we've made technically the first pocket, which is this pocket here. And I'm showing you this so that you can see that it is independent of this pocket that's going to be back here. Okay, so there's the first pocket. So the next step is I wanted to have this piece covering the whole back part, but I wanted there to still be like a little bit of like jaggedness or ruggedness, and you don't have to do this, but all I did was I tore the top a little just to give it some interest, and then distressed it, my black soot. Okay, so it goes in like this. So this one, I did the other one rounded corners, and Patricia did hers with square. So I'm going to do this one a little bit more like Patricia did, so I'm going to leave this one square. So I'm just going to glue this down because this is our background, and you want to make sure that, I mean, you could technically make this piece a pocket too, but I feel like we're going to get into pocket overload soon. I mean, there's already 3 pockets, and I can easily find a way that you can add a total of 5 pockets to this, and I'm sure you can too, but we're just going to stop at 3 because this could be a pocket, this could be a pocket, that's 3, then you can make another pocket here, and then you could do a pocket on the back. That's like 5 pockets that you could do out of this. But we're just going to do 3. So I want to glue that piece down, and I want to just distress here. Okay. So here's what we have so far. Now, I have another piece of scrap here that I want to use as my piece that contrasts between the 2 pockets here. So I'm just going to put this where I want it to go and cut it down. And then what I also did just to add a little bit more interest was I used my edge punch to punch a little, punch a little decorative border here. Okay, so this will be going right here. So that's going to be the other pocket that we have down. Now, if you're gluing, you don't have to stitch. If you're gluing, then you're already kind of like on par. If you're gonna stitch like I am, what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this over to my machine, and I'm going to just do the 1 stitch that goes right across here, this pocket, and I'm just gonna do it right along this edge. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll be right back. The next thing that I'm going to do, I've got that little piece stitched down. I'm going to take 1 magnet, and I did glue this piece down, but I have a little bit of lift here at the very bottom, this decorative piece. So a little bit of lift here at the very bottom. So I'm going to take a little bit of tape. You can also use glue. And I'm just going to put this down in here. You can do this before you add the decorative piece, but I forgot, so we're doing it now. And then put 1 magnet down in here. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more tape to make sure it really sticks. Like so. And then we press this all the way down. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to make sure it stays over here and over here. This is going to get stitched down, but that's why I wasn't really worried about it the first time I did it. Now, actually, before we move on, we can actually place this pocket in here however you want it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue. Now, for this, what I would do is add glue to the back side of this and put it down like this. Place it where you want to. I want that a little bit higher. Okay, so this is how this is going to go. Like so. Now at this point, you're kind of really done. If you'll notice, we have a pocket here, and a separate pocket here. All you have to really do is add a little decoration here, or another pocket, whatever you want to do, but I just did a little collage here. And then you can be done with it. You could also add just coffee stained paper here to the back. But what I'm going to do is take another scrap that I have here, and I'm just gonna line this up just so that I can get a measurement. And then I'm just gonna sit this down, and then I wanna make sure that I have like about a 1/2 inch from the bottom of this little piece, and I'm just going to fold it. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. Just about a ½ inch is good. Now, where we've made this crease, so we have the length of this, right? Plus like ½ inch down here. Where this crease is, when you open this up, you just want to make like another cut here about ½ inch down from this crease. So I'm just going to do that on paper trimmer just so that I make sure it's straight. Okay, so like I said, this doesn't have to be like hardcore measurements. You just want to kind of roughly make sure that you get ½ inch or so. So this is what we have. I have my little piece where the crease is. We got ½ inch, and then we've also got an extra like ½ inch up here. So just for the sake of not having to really measure a bunch of stuff, I'm just gonna line this up where the top part of my little pocket is, and fold it down like this. So now you can see this is starting to come together a little bit. What we'll do is we will take some glue. Okay, so we've got our ½ inch and ½ inch, and then this is kind of like the body of where our pocket is. So what I would like to do is just take a little bit of glue on the outside flap and attach that right here to the back of this pocket. So what you want to do is take your magnet and let it touch down wherever it's going to attach to the other magnet. Then what I'm just going to do is take some tape. You can also use glue. And I'm going to add tape here so that I can just pick this magnet up where it is meant to attach. Actually, I need to add tape up here because that's where it's going to catch. So I'm going to tap it, and as you can see, I've picked up the magnet. So now that the magnet is where it's supposed to be, you can just take this flap and fold it up. I added a little bit of glue in there so that it would stay closed nice and well. There is that. So here's what we have so far. Now the next thing you can do is you can take some of your coffee stained paper that you might have, and first I'm just going to distress this a little bit. And I think I'll do a little bit of script stamping just so that there's a nice little background here. Okay. Then I have some coffee stained paper, and I'm just going to kind of roughly tear this so that it fits this little area. We're going to basically just be covering up this background here. And I will distress this a little bit just so that it blends in. And we're going to glue it down. So up here then, now you can add more copy stained paper, you can add a pocket, you can add a belly band, you can leave it how it is, you can add a picture, and then down here you have a little bit of journaling space. You could even actually turn this into a booklet if you wanted to. So if you wanted to like fold some paper and sew it into the seam here, you have a little booklet that you could flip through right back here. You can do that also, which I may do a couple like that. Not right now, but you'll probably see them later when I share these books. But for now, oh, and then the last thing actually I'm going to do now, we have to actually glue this pocket down, don't we? So you can either glue this down or you can stitch it. Now you're probably like, April, how are you going to glue this piece without closing up your pocket? That's a good question. So to do that, if you're just going to glue, you just want to glue right here along this edge. And then on this corner, you just want to put a little dot of glue, like in that right upper corner. And this is going to hold it down. It's going to hold it closed. And then it's also going to preserve the pocket that we made right here. Okay. So if you're going to stitch like I am, you don't really have to stitch along the bottom, but you can if you want to. I'm not. All I'm going to do is take this to my machine and stitch it here, here, and then right up to this other stitch, because that's also where that glue is, where we just added it. And that's going to keep all of our pockets open, and then also we'll have our back flap. And then I'll show you how this is going to look once we're done with it. So I'm going to go stitch this and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I just stitched around the area where I told you I would, and now we have our fully pocket here, pocket here, pocket here, and then we just need to do a little collaging or something else there. You can leave this plain, you can add paper here, you can collage here, you can add a pocket here, and then it flips open, and then you have room for, like I said, something here and writing here, or you can make a little booklet in here so that it flips like this. So you're probably like, what was the point of adding a magnet? Well, let me show you on the signature here. Now you have a floating pocket that can float and also attach to the tops of any of your pages. So if you have a page like this, you have a nice little interactive element for your page that can latch right on at the top. So this is how that will look in your book. A nice little compact floating element, interactive with the pockets. You can take it off, you can journal in here, and or you can just leave it floating like this and it's still its own little element. So that is basically it. Like I said, all you have left to do is really just decorate it however you want to. I just chose to use a few different fabrics and layer those on here. And yeah, so I hope you guys like this idea. Again, thank you to Patricia for the inspiration. I would definitely link her down in the description box below so you can check out her video. So that is going to wrap it up for me for now. Be sure to stay tuned because you never know what direction this odd flock of ours is heading into. And until next time, toodaloo.